Okay, we're on.
Right.
So, what do you got?
Okay, what have I got? Well, I better show you, I guess. Hold on. Okay, so the first thing is no bot is the best thing, right? I'm starting to think that How doesn't have. Previously, we described him as having a privileged role. I don't think he has a privileged role. I think topics are the privileged roles, not How.
We were talking
Now,
about needing an orchestrator, which is the thing that you speak to, the one bot.
well, here's the thing, right? This was the text I was about to send you. I thought I'd just like put it up on the screen. Right. If we go down the modularization route, then it should be that you can inherit perhaps fewer and fewer, capabilities and permissions. That's fine. And maybe at some point we want to cut off the orchestration, but we've already cut off the orchestration by getting rid of drones and just saying these are tools, right? So as soon as you get rid of drones and make them drones isolates and make them into tools, these are just things. They're not very intelligent things. Okay, so what you're left with HAL and agents. And the only difference, if go to the definition that I've got at the moment, between the two is HAL has a privileged role that he talks to. Where is it? Oh shit. No, that's something else. Damn it. The only difference.
What's your
is,
objective here? Like, what are you trying to achieve with this push of work?
Our push of work is from our last call. I had a number of updates to DC definitions,
Right.
which we talked about the different levels, and we agreed that why have we got drones, isolates, and so on? Those need to be squished. So I've been going through a coherence loop with O1. And then when I was doing that, I was looking at the descriptions of each and how the only thing that I removed the you are privileged because the bot doesn't care whether you're privileged or not, right? Where's my cursor gone? Sorry. Shit, where did it go? Okay, so if you look at these set of things, the difference between a HAL and an agent is you can orchestrate. Now, I was thinking if you're going to modularize, what you want is to hand over. Remember, I used to bang on about command and control in the armed forces. It's like, do this. I don't care how you do it. Just do it and tell me when it's done, or if it's not done, give me an error so I can update my own thing. And that goes all the way down, right down to the the private in the field. It seems that we've got the same kind of situation here. So giving Hal a unique position where he is the only one who can orchestrate seems wrong. That seems like a dictator. What he should do is he should be building the kind of overall grand strategy, then handing it off to an agent that knows about this field, and that agent should be building up, strategies, handing it off to other agents. Strategies should then turn into tactics, and tactics should end up in tool calls. So, where's how come from?
Hal talks to the user. That's the role that Hal has, right? The abilities that you're talking about should be part of any nApp. Any nApp should have that ability to push down and delegate out.
Right, and this is part of the reason I asked for this call, and it can be quite a quick one. It doesn't need to be. I just want your view on this one. I want to be talked out of this one because I like the idea of having a HAL to talk to, but it's an emotional thing. Now, instead of a HAL, if you had a blank sheet of paper, which was effectively how it didn't know anything, new thread, that sort of thing, and you start to talk about it, and then it would get, it would know your grand strategy. Maybe there's more than one in that session and goes down and down and down and so on, then that's the thing. Now maybe you'd have 2 or 3 hows. Maybe the hows could talk together. The question is, or my challenge to you is, why have a privileged agent that's the only one who can orchestrate? Because as soon as you add orchestration into any other
the reason why is because if you fragment the control structure of how the platform presents to the user, whatever shortcomings there are within each agent that cause them to be part of a group, you are offloading that to the user to think about and understand.
Okay, my pushback on that is that sounds a lot like when you see the PR person, stand up in front of the podium in the White House, and you know that they're making no decisions whatsoever. They're just presenting it to the user. Now that's something we can do, but they have no orchestration, and there's
what is the benefit of solving this problem now versus building it and then seeing how it plays out? Because the components that we have to build and the prompting that has to be done seem independent of whether or not you choose one or several.
Oh no, this is a prompting problem, and the benefit of, well, why I'm raising this now, and I would quite like to be talked out of it because I quite like how, is we go from 2 components to 1.
What are the 2 components and what is the one?
At the moment, we've got how and agents. I'm saying agents.
Okay, so yesterday I was saying that agents needs to become natural language apps.
Yep.
Do you agree with that or you disagree with that?
I still don't like naps because it does sound like you're going to sleep. But yeah, I agree with the concept of this is a thing that you talk to that does stuff for you. You don't care how it is. It's a black box.
Yeah.
You talk to it and stuff happens. Yes.
Okay. And the distinction between a nApp and a regular app is that the nApp has a natural language interface.
Yes.
Okay.
And also it has the ability to orchestrate for Hal, who has the privileged position.
No, they all. That's just they can call other nApps. There's no fanciness about that. That's just modularity. They can be composed of other, just like an npm package can be composed of many other npm packages. Okay, so too with a nApp.
So again, back to my question, which is, what is the difference then between HAL can orchestrate, and if we add in orchestration to agents,
the special place of HAL is his role, not his architecture.
Why not? So by role, what you're really talking about is what? Because
when the system boots, the system presents HAL as its face or its interface to the world.
Okay, but agents can write to the state board. We agreed that last time.
Yeah, provided they are given permission to do so by whichever agent has control of the state board.
Yep, absolutely. Everyone, including Hal, is controlled by permissions, although Hal's got the widest permissions. And by inference, because the state board is effectively a visual adjunct to the thread, an agent can write to the thread.
No
response.
No, those all come back through whichever agent is talking to HAL. So that natural language interface, yes, you could just relay it straight through, but the intention of the design is that it gets parsed or processed in some way, presented in some way to enable features like individual user preference on how they want to be spoken to, how they want the text laid out, what language they want to speak in, other types of things like that.
But those preferences, you're right, those preferences do exist, but those preferences should also be handed down to any agent. If the agent can write...
No, because at some point, at some point there's a translation point. You should have that translation point as late in the stack as possible, as close to the user as possible. That's when the translation should be. Otherwise, you'll pollute it or find it counter.
Okay. Okay. So
Presentation is always the last layer.
it is a bit like,
You'll fuck it up.
yeah, it is a bit like that dude that stands up at the podium and saying the president has done this, and everyone knows they have no control over it, but they're presenting it, and they're answering questions as well.
Yeah, and they can like take it back to the president and all that.
They can't do anything because they don't. Well, they can say someone asked this to happen, but they're not going to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm still not clear why this distinction matters at this point. Like, why make such a big deal out of this?
No, this was meant to be a very short call. This is not a big deal call.
Okay.
My question is, if we put orchestrate, can agents orchestrate?
Yes.
In which case, Dave has. Sorry. I'm putting this in the wrong place. Hal has no particular privileged position, other than he's the last person to speak. That's it.
Or the first person to speak.
Or the first person to receive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's it.
It's a privileged position. It's not a privileged structure.
Yeah. So it's basically. Oh, I just got a text. That's chewed up. Okay. So. So all that is. Given that other agents can also write directly to the state board, and I do think they will need to write to the thread because the state board reflects the thread.
Yeah, so you were saying given that, and then you were going to say something else after that. Yeah, given that, what?
Given that, there's no difference other than everyone talks up in the big pyramid and says, right, how. Tell this. That's it. But how does not have anything else you can do? There's no functions. There's no tasks that he can carry out. There's no tools that he has particularly privileged. All he does is wide and incompetent. Whereas he's got a hierarchy but below him, which are more narrow and more competent. And that's it.
Yep.
So okay, all right. I think you think I haven't killed Hal, and I think I have killed Hal. I can't think of if the definitions are the same. And all we're saying is he's the first bot to be spun up when you log in, and that's it.
What's the difference? What's the loss?
There isn't. But previously we were saying that Hal was going to be, your one bot to rule them all.
That's what it is.
Well, he's not really. He's he's a mouthpiece. He's like, yeah.
He rules them all. He says whose turn to talk. He says who can talk to each other. He manages the system resources to say who gets tokens to spend. He's in charge. He's the operator.
Right. Okay, I'll put more thought into that. I wanted to be talked out of getting rid of Hal because I like Hal.
Hal's a role. Hal's just how the whole system presents itself to the user. It's the tip of the pyramid.
It's just when I was looking through these, the description of it, it's like that's identical, and the only difference is the word privileged. It's like I couldn't define privileged. What does privilege mean? Now, privilege could be defined as everything ultimately, when presented to Dave through either the thread or the state board, has to go through Hal, but that's about it. He's not adding anything. He's just like
that's pretty privileged.
Yeah, he's the kind of PR guy. Okay.
He's significantly more than that. He is intelligent as well.
Yeah, but he's no more intelligent. In fact, he's probably less intelligent in some areas than the agents that are under him, because. So say how.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Why do we keep arguing about this? Like, why does it matter whether he is intelligent or not?
I wasn't arguing. Sorry, I was describing.
Okay.
Because I think we're both basically saying the same thing. How and the agent same. The only difference is how is the first bot to spin up when you log in.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Which is like, you know, inside the prompting is not really prompting; it is a boot up action. So I'll keep him in there for now because I was saying,
Well, I mean, what else are you gonna? You need to fill that role with someone or something. You need a description that role is different to all the other roles get summoned by that role.
Yeah, but you could, start for 10. You could have a dumb bot there, and you could say, show me all the topics I've been talking about, and each topic has its own HAL, who's been orchestrating between those and can talk to other topics. So that'd be another way of doing it. You could have it based on, I want to talk to my CRM HAL. The dumb bot you could easily just do with text parsing. It's not really an AI. There's no AI needed there. There's no intelligence. All you're saying is show me a list of things I can do, and I'll do that one. You could do
Sorry,
it over a
that
screen.
makes no sense. That makes no sense. How can there be no AI there?
Well, here's a thought. So, and I'm not advocating for this, but I'm just answering your question. So, if you had a portal, log in, and it's like, right, here are my list of HALs, my topics, say. I'm going to click on that. It's like, there's not much difference between that and giving a voice command saying, log me in and, take me to my CRM.
No, there's a huge difference. My expectation of that first bot is that the majority of my questions are answered by it. And as that bot gets smarter because the models that it runs on get upgraded, it just does more and more.
The counter to that would be every agent is running the same model and it's just as smart.
They're not running the same model. They run different models depending on their purpose. Like O1 is slow and smart, and O1 Mini, the Mini version is much faster, but it's only good at different tasks.
Yep, okay, all right. Okay, so, all right, good. I just wanted to run that past you because, as I was saying, I want to keep HAL. But do you agree that every agent can orchestrate the agents that it has permission to, instruct to do things?
Yeah, I do. But I think that we need to settle whether we're going to call them nApps or agents. And if we're not going to call them nApps, then agent needs extension because.
Okay, I'm okay with talking about this now. Do you have time?
Sure.
Okay, agent is just I don't know. We've just kind of fallen into that. We were calling them bots. Then we call them agents because the world seems to be using agents or assistants or that sort of thing.
Right.
So the argument for creating a new term what's the argument for creating a new term? We could call them assistants, for example, and fall in with the rest of the world.
We could, but calling them nApps represents more the packaging and the interfacing that they represent, and the modularity is better covered by calling them nApps. If you call them agents, it naturally lends more towards personification.
You're right. You're right, actually. So what you're saying is an agent is someone who can come in and she's got a bunch of skills. Go and do that. But what you're not saying is I'm going to jack you into the matrix and I'm going to teach you kung fu, which is what we're talking about in terms of adding abilities to a personal, what previously was called agent. So yeah, okay, I give you that. So agent is too solidified, isn't it?
It seems too weak or too narrow because a nApp can come with a bunch of knowledge. A nApp can come with extra executables, like it could come with its own custom vector database. It could come with a bunch of precompiled code that it can run as tools.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I agree is not agent. Now, nApp.
And then you're
Well,
like, is the if you wanted to interface with the CRM, calling the whole CRM an agent doesn't feel right, because the impression we want to give when you're inside the CRM is that you're talking to different agents while you're using it. And so,
well, also, what I was hoping. Sorry, cut you off. Carry on your thoughts. Sorry.
and so the agent model seems to be a bit
Static.
well, no, what's the word for it? Like it doesn't have the composability. It doesn't reflect the composability. Like when you talk about agent, you don't first think of, oh, there must be a bunch of other agents inside here that this thing is using, right?
So it's more of a process, isn't it? You're calling. I mean, what is in fact is a bunch of stuff that happens in sequence and in parallel to come back and do what you've asked it to do. But it's composed on the fly, depending on what you've asked.
Right.
And so, if you ask a different thing in your next prompt, it's a completely different thing. Even though you might think you're talking to a system, you're not really talking to a system because it can pull in capabilities and it can combine things from different areas, depending on what your permissions are and what you're trying to do. Okay,
You
is
could,
that
I guess that you could actually, based on their descriptions alone, you could consider those things equally valid names. But agent feels a bit too glorified. Like it's not it's just an app. All these
it's
things, they're
well,
just apps.
actually, an agent, as we define it at the moment, is in old school terms, just you've compiled a bunch of functions together
Yeah,
in an environment, and you're running that environment. Is that it?
right. I just feel like agent means that the communication lines in and out seem undefined by the name. When you call it an agent, you could be meaning it's going to make some, HTTP calls, it's going to do some plain text, it's going to do some, like when you talk about a nApp, you're kind of inferring more the outside or the packaging of it. With an agent, you're talking about what it can do for you. The name reflects the innards of the thing, but a nApp reflects the outside in a way.
Can I just think on what the N is?
Natural language apps.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Uh, we're zeroing down that this is an interface that is natural language and it feels like an app.
Yeah, it has a lot of the properties of an app, and it can call on other apps within it modularly using natural language. But the thrust of our distinction between the rest of the world is the fact that the, the naps communicate purely using natural language.
So one question is that sounds a lot like I quite like jitters, just in time apps, which is
What's
kind of
just
what
in
we're
time
talking.
about it? It's not.
It's just in time because um, depending on your natural language prompt, um, you're consolidating together a bunch of capabilities with a wrapper of a format and getting that to then carry out your task or orchestrate further tasks which could also involve getting some capabilities together and another wrapper and all the way down. So these things are done. They can be semi-persistent because they're just files. But what's the difference between a nApp and a jitter?
Well, a nApp is a permanent thing that sits in a nApp store and can be called on demand. A jitter is the assemblage of nApps that is being composed on the fly. That to me. That's what jitter is. Jitter's more about the delivery mechanism as opposed to the components of that delivery. Jitters are made up of nApps. The nApps coordinate and orchestrate dynamically.
Jitters are made up of nApps. So nApps are components inside of a jitter.
Yeah, and the jitter is the thing that you're using because it's having nApps swapped in and out. The nApp is the unit. It's the tested, tried and true, guaranteed, certified, burned a million tokens to make sure it's stable.
I think we're getting somewhere here. Okay, so we've got a thing.
You can't make a jitter. You can't make a jitter when your components aren't stable. You need atoms. You need building blocks to be able to make a jitter, and they need to fit well together and be well tested.
I think we're getting somewhere. So what you've just described, I've currently defined. Remember, it's easy to redefine these. Now we've got structure to have definitions. I've defined those as a capability. So a bunch of capabilities are put together. So a bunch of jitters put together in order to create a nApp in the definition that you just given. Is that right?
No, you just said a bunch of jitters got put together to create a nApp. But I was saying that a jitter results from the composition of nApps.
So a nApp is a capability then?
A nApp is a guaranteed unit of capabilities.
Right. Okay. So where I've got capability, that's a nApp.
No, a capability is something that a nApp can do, but a nApp is the package through which it is delivered.
Well, what is that package though? I'm not being an arse on this, and forgive me because in my own head I'm sounding like an arse, but I'm in definition world. So we have a thing which is one step up from a tool. Tool has no intelligence. One step up from that is a capability which involves, perhaps interpreting whatever has been asked to do in order to call the right tools, but it's constrained. Now, the one up from there's another thing, which is, well, in order to do this, I need to have this capability, this capability, this capability, and I have to have this plan. So I'm going to throw off these three tasks in parallel, and once they're all three done, I'm going to decide what happens to the last task, and then I'm going to put it back up to the user. So without using any names, those are the units we've got. So we've got, the brute code. We've got a wrapper, an AI wrapper that is constrained, runs that code, and perhaps it has a choice of 2 or 3 in order to decide whether what's the most appropriate. And then we've got another wrapper, which is the thing that is trying to answer your question. So, of those 3 things, what we're talking about, I think we're okay with tools because we agreed on tools. Yeah, tool is the dumb brute force code. So one step up is what I've got defined at the moment. It's a capability. And then one step up from that at the moment, and I agree, agent is not the right name. Is a combination of capabilities.
What is the purpose of getting all these definitions down? Like, what are you trying to achieve? If you could have this completed, what would you do then?
The reason for this is if there's one thing I've learned over the last year, and it's almost exactly a year since the first drop that was of any use, The one thing I have learned is you get your definitions right, and everything just falls into place very,
What
very
are you
easily.
trying to get to fall into place, though?
Well, in this case, as we were talking in the last call, the definitions of Dreamcatcher, so that we can get the ERD, we can get flowcharts, we can get tests generated automatically, we can get as many tests as we want, and we can also get a running system that you can actually add information into. It all comes from definitions. Because if you don't know the definitions, you
Okay.
don't go anywhere.
So why did you introduce capabilities?
Because of the modularization. That was 2 calls ago.
No, that's not. What's the difference between a capability and a tool?
A capability has intelligence around choosing how to use a very small set of tools. You
Yeah,
say,
but
I
what's
need
the
this
difference
done.
then between having a drone? Because a drone is a tool that gets called that uses some kind of AI to perform its function and come back. A capability sounds the same. I don't think you
Capability
need
sounds the
capabilities.
same.
Like, I don't think that.
So in that case, all there is agents and tools.
Well,
Now that
naps
means
and tools. I mean,
naps.
we're sort of.
So the difference. Well, okay. Here's another way of answering, perhaps more usefully. The reason.
So I would say that a
Uh,
nap is a tool. A nap is a natural language interface to a set of tools, which can include a null and zero tools.
right. And so what I was trying to do with the modularity is previously we had system prompts and the header space commands. You can use this. There's no reason. Well, every time we wanted a new app, sorry, a new agent as it was, we had to write another file. There's no reason why we need to do that because those system prompts can be written on the fly, depending on what the intent is.
No, they can't. You cannot reliably produce those system prompts on the fly. You need to have tested them significantly first before you deploy them.
No, you need to know that the testing of each tool is correct, and that
The testing of the tool.
the overall intent of the output is being met.
Sorry,
But
the intent of the output. You keep adding in
yeah,
extra words when you're
well,
talking.
no. We talked about
Output's
this
new now.
2 days ago and yesterday as well. The only thing that's important is what is the user trying to do. What does he want? He doesn't care. Everything is black box. It's we went through
Yep.
if you remember
Yeah, I agree with that.
the phone, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't give a shit. Now, what we're saying is we can, because of natural language, if you ask for I only want to go to a restaurant if it's got outside seating, but I don't want to get wet. Now, previously we were just generating another agent that would have to do that, or we're having an agent that would do this and do that. But the capabilities were, we can call it a wrapper or we can call it an agent. It doesn't matter at the moment for this argument. But what we're saying is, if you can combine different things together, you're going to be able to do stuff that nobody knew about until the
Yeah,
intent
but
of Dave was known.
combination is not the same as writing on the fly. Combination on the fly can be done reliably.
Yeah, that's what
Writing,
I'm talking about.
no, you were saying the system prompt could be created on the fly. That's what you said. Did you
Okay,
misspeak?
I misspoke. It's
Yeah,
Lego
so you
bricks.
now listen to me. You feel like you're not making a distinction between what it means to have a unit that's pre-tested and vetted and what it means to compose something dynamically, fluidly on the go. Okay? Like that seems to, if I was to say what the jumble is in what you're talking about, it's that you're not encapsulating and representing a solid tested unit of intelligence and you're making the mistake between thinking that it can be dynamic. Like, you're not drawing a distinction between a fluid, vague thing, which would be the live running inference. Hang on, please.
Yeah.
The live running inference is fluid, unpredictable, never seen before. You've never seen what the AI produces each time it speaks. But the units that you've tested, you have seen them and you've thrashed them so that they become predictable static units. The dynamicism that natural language affords us, that's the jitter. The jitter experience is the dynamicism of the AIs that composes different components that are reliable to make this fluid structure, this fluid response to whatever you're asking of it. But the units inside it you are not giving them enough weight, because they are the only way that the fluidity doesn't just become air and disappear.
I agree with everything you just said, which means I'm not explaining myself and misspeaking, or I'm doing something wrong, because I agree with everything you just said.
Okay, you're probably just tired, buddy.
No, I'm fucking knackered.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe you need to put the bone down. That's all I'm saying.
No, I can't, because I'm out on holiday. Right, I'll give you an example. I haven't. This is another thing.
Why are you giving me an example? If you agreed with everything that I just said, then what more is there to do?
No, what I'm trying to do is to convince you that actually we're thinking about the same thing, but I'm misspeaking.
Does it matter? I mean, because of the things.
Word for it, yeah.
Because of the things that you said to me several days ago, I can see clearly how this packaging thing works. Now, I'm prepared to be debated about it and disrupted about it, but I think that if you think that my description to you is clearer than your description to me, and you agree with it, perhaps it's not fruitful to keep going.
It would be because when I described it, you thought I was talking about something else, and I'm trying to deal with definitions. It would be helpful at the highest level just to go over what I'm thinking about. But I've only got a really shitty example. But bear with me for 60 seconds.
Bear with you for 60 seconds. Okay, I've got a timer running here. 60 seconds.
All I've done now, I've been looking at stuck format, which was empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, stuck format is like, well, what we need is a bunch of things here. Now, some of them can be generated when the stuck is done, an overview, for example, ID, and so on. However, some of these are just Lego bricks, and you define them up the top. So, global definitions. You have to agree with global definitions. Global definitions are tested. Now, if you put in, for example, tools in there, they are tested as Lego bricks. In that top level, these are your Lego bricks, and the template is simply to put in any specifics on the fly. For example, the stuck overview, right? So you can't test in advance what the overview of the stuck is, because this is a template. You need to generate that, or you need to get someone to type it. But you do know that you need an overview.
What's the difference between a priority definition and a global definition?
Actually,
nothing, right?
So
why is there priority definitions inside the stuck template as well as definitions at the top?
But they're
okay. This is not finished. What is the point of showing? What are you trying to show me with this?
What I'm showing you is there are definitions. Is not one big dictionary. There are.
It's encapsulated. There's boxes of it. Right.
Yeah, and some of them are optional. You don't need, for example, to know about the local definitions of stucks if you're dealing with ducks.
Correct.
And so, but you do all need to agree on global, or the priority definitions of the global definitions. So, I've not updated that. So, global definitions, local definitions.
Yeah. So I would
local rules.
Maybe. If you asked O1 for what does the concept of priority and global definition sound like, you would get probably a name that sounds more like something that's in common use. I would suggest that from my limited time on Earth, it sounds like domain language is what you're talking about when you talk about global or priority definitions. You mean what is the domain language that we're working in, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah,
Domain's not bad actually.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you
it's
need to
not
go
quite
through.
right,
You
but
need
it's
yeah, you need to
yeah,
go to O1 and you need to talk about it with O1 because
yeah,
O1 knows more about these things than we do.
yeah, yeah. But I would not give you another example because you've seen all
I
this.
don't.
It's
Yeah, I'm like, why you
but
keep
these
showing me
are
examples? I'm like,
yeah,
did I
no,
not
no.
prove? Did I not prove to
Bec-
you that I got it?
yeah, but the
But
worrying part was you thought I was thinking that the and I did say this. I
yeah,
am tired,
so
but
you couldn't
I'm
blame me
not
for
talking about
interpreting
the
your words.
yes.
Okay.
This is why I'm taking responsibility for misspeaking.
Okay.
I'm not talking about writing a whole sysprompt. I'm talking about constructing a sysprompt from well-defined Lego bricks
No, disagree again.
and a
Disagree again.
template.
No, no, that's a dynamic sys prompt. Disagree. Strongly disagree.
Okay, so give me an example of where it would go wrong if, for example, right,
Sys prompting.
there is a template for a prompt for a bot, which is now called whatever it is going to be called.
But
Chat
for
agents.
someone who launched into this and said multiple times through the day that they were being a Nazi for definitions,
Yeah,
you
this is why
have
I'm having
no your
this
definitions.
discussion.
It's
This is why I'm having this
disgusting. I
discussion.
think you have like bot, agent, nap, which we agreed on
That's because I
previously
haven't
that
had
didn't
time
roll
to
through.
update everything.
Well, I'm just
It's
saying
saying
maybe
you
you should
know how many
define
balls in there.
a
Now
little
answer
bit
that and
first.
answer the question. Answer the question. Okay, if each of these right
So what's
were
wrong with this being a dynamically generated system prompt? And
right,
why is that such
yes,
an awful idea? Is
yes,
because fundamentally an AI is a probabilistic system. And the only way to test a probabilistic system is to constrain the highest level chain of command that goes into it, which is the sysprompt, and test its behaviors when the user puts in something different. Testing the AI for what happens when you twiddle the sysprompt is insane. You will never ever get that to be stable. This is a terrible idea.
aren't you just redefining what level the tests have been run at? I mean, what level are you talking about? The tests being run at there? You write what we used to call an agent, and you test an agent, and then that's it. You change the agent, and then that's it. And that agent will only ever do that one thing.
The agent, um, when it's been tested, here's a good way to tie it all together. The
Uh-huh.
agent is just a component of the nApp. The nApp includes the tests for the agent, the tools for the agent, some data like the info folder that's relevant, some other.
That makes
That
more
makes
sense
sense,
because
right?
previously we were talking about naps were very close to capabilities. You said what's the difference between capability and
A
a
tool.
tool? And I'm saying, well,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah,
you
I
wrap
know
that.
that there is actually a difference. Like a capability is more like it's a it's a independent of a tool or whether it was delivered by
Well,
AI. But I would
it's an
say that
individually testable chunk of
yeah, a
NL and
provable thing. Like
tool.
I think
Yeah,
you could say that a capability is not a capability if it can't be relied upon, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? So
Exactly. So
that's a subtle but profound way to think about it because a capability that's
yeah,
sometimes there is not a capability. It's what is that? Right?
have I added confusion by using the word capability?
You
Because what I
have
was meaning with
you have a bit.
capability
You have
is
a bit.
a
Yeah.
testable unit of stuff.
No, you never said anything like that. A capability is not a testable unit of stuff. A capability is a property that a testable unit of stuff has. A capability is fungible. It can be delivered by multiple different things. Like if I see that island out there in the distance and I say, I want that wiped of life forms, that's a capability that I want to be able to call on. How you do it, it could be napalm, it could be wild animals, it could be poison, it could be anything at all. But the capability is what I'm after.
I think what I've done here, right, and in that definition, the capability, what I've missed out is this is individually testable.
Yeah, that's not a capability. Let me have a go at a capability definition for you. In the world of nApps, I would say that a capability is the equivalent of a tool, but it's delivered via natural language. So it's a tool that's been prefaced with intelligence, just like how I would imagine in a submarine, that the captain has all these capabilities, but his crew are using tools like levers, rods, dials, computer screens, things.
Mm-hmm.
They are intelligences that are operating tools to give the captain capabilities. The captain talks to them in natural language, and they preface or proxy the intelligent level commands into tool level commands that go into the machine. But the captain is who we want to be Hal, basically. And
Okay,
it,
all right. Yep,
yeah,
yeah, I get I get where you're going. Okay, right.
yeah,
So my this is not a counter argument. This is me trying to understand your argument.
okay,
What I'm trying to do is with a large library of things you could do. Dave types in something that involves quite a few things to work together, and he's never typed it before, and nobody's ever typed it before.
that's right.
So,
And also, the
um,
intelligences are also doing that same thing. They're combining things for purposes that no one's ever seen before. But you
right,
can
okay,
only
so
do that if the units you're combining are very well tested.
okay, yes. So it's the testing, it's the unit of the testing that's the important thing. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing what I think you've just described and what I think we need to do, right? So Dave asked for something that's never happened before. It involves mixing and matching all sorts of things. Who knows? I'm not going to give an example. But he's asked for something. Right. Now, one possible way is you get an orchestrator to go, right, here is an AI, let's call it, to avoid any name clash. Here's an AI that does this bit. Here's an AI that does this bit. Here's an AI that does this bit. We need all three to finish, and then put the result through this last fourth one, and then I've got result. Now, the question really comes is what is the level of testing? So, say if there's an AI that does weather. There's an AI that does geolocation. There's an AI that does restaurant discussion, and there's an AI that says your wife likes this. Um, those are all quite static, and it's like what my wife likes this. I don't know. However, each of them could be tested. So that's the first way of doing it. The second way of doing it, so what I'm thinking about is you go to a bot that knows, right, I know about weather. Where are you? Okay, right, you're in Scotland. Okay, right. So I've got the capability of Scotland. Now I am a weather in Scotland bot, agent, AI, sorry. So I'll be that first one. Second one is I'm a restaurant guy, I'm a geolocation guy, and I'm the guy who knows about your wife. And it adds in capabilities, and the capabilities are the things that are tested. The intelligence is really there only down to selection of what you get in. So you're getting in. You're asking, "What's the weather in Scotland?" You're asking,
No, you lost me, buddy. You keep. Can you make a more compact description or state your question clearly?
"Yeah, what is what I'm trying to get to the answer of what is the atomic testable unit."
The nApp. That's what the nApp is.
And describe what you think is a nApp.
A nApp is a package that includes an agent, some tools.
On a second, we said there's no agents. What do you mean by an agent, though?
I think that an agent is a sysprompt and some tools that's designed to interface with an LLM, designed to
Right. So essentially, it is a sysprompt. Sorry, an agent in that definition
Yeah.
is you are this description
Yeah,
this,
and
and you
I
have
think that
these
we
tools.
an agent is like what we have with our agent format. That's what an agent
Correct.
is,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And I think
Yep.
the nApp is the package of the agent plus the tests that have been written to assail that agent. Um, some contextual data like it could be private data, it could be specific data like the test format was one example of such data, and the tools that the agent will run. And those
So the
tools,
the the lowest level we can go to test,
yeah,
ignoring tools, because that's a different thing.
yeah.
Is an agent which is I want to take my wife for dinner.
What? That makes no sense.
Well,
That
that's what you said. It's like it's an agent. I give you an example
no,
with
no. I don't need an example. I don't
three
need an
things.
example because
No,
your
I've
previous
already
one
given
didn't
you.
make sense. It didn't make sense.
Okay, well, you give an example of a combination that can be tested as a unit. What's the smallest
An
level that you want to go
example
down
is
to?
the router. Okay, we've got the router.
Yeah,
It's an agent. We've got some tests on it. Some of
yep,
those tests pass. It has some tool calls that it can make. That's a nap when it's all wrapped up.
right. Okay, so that sounds identical to what I've been calling capability, which
But
is
it is not because a
an
capability
intelligent.
the definition of capability in the English language does not match at all
I think
with
that's
what
where
a
we're
nap
going
is.
wrong. I think that's where we're going. It's my choice of words, but at the moment,
You can't just take you
we've got
cannot take an English word and just by giving it a strong definition override what the English word means. The English word is actually the true universal definition, and you need to fit into that. And
yes.
capability is not that. Capability is like a property or a feature. It's not a thing. A capability is not a thing.
No, it's an outcome. You
It's not an
expect an
outcome.
outcome.
It's a potential.
It's it's a black box in out, and you expect this out can be tested, and you can be sure that
The
if you put this in,
capability
you're
is
going to
that
get that
you
out.
can call upon it. It's the potential to do something in the future. Once it's done, it's
So
not a capability. It's just a demonstration that the capability
for,
exists. Let me call up
so
O1 and get it to define for you
yeah,
what a
yeah.
capability is.
Well, no, don't do that. Give it, ask it what synonyms
Well,
for a
you've got a
skill.
version 2.
A
You can
skill.
type 2. Why don't you type in your one?
Yeah, I'm a bit rubbish at typing with this on. That's how I call. It is a skill, effectively. It's like we are bringing together skills. Yep, it is. Oh, I hate typing with VR headset. So, what the fuck? Why is that? There you go. I think this is a coming from we're talking very close. I think I've erred by calling it a capability. I think you're talking about capability as a wider thing than I am.
I think I'm
Capability
talking
is
about
more like a function.
capability. I'm thinking about a capability in terms of what the English language defines a capability as. You've gone and decided to try and make it something more specific, but you can't
Well,
do
no,
that.
I haven't. Oh no,
You
I
can't do
can.
that. You can't do that. And
No, I can.
these bots will fight you all the way down, right? They
Come on,
will.
man. I'm the one who's like drilling down and saying, actually, what do you mean by that? And we've gone from naps to agents to capabilities to tools, and
Yeah, it's good.
we've
It's
had
good.
isolates
But just
and all
because
that
you're
kind of
the
thing.
one fighting for the definitions doesn't necessarily mean that you're right.
Oh, that's why I'm talking. This is why I wanted this call. Give me synonyms for. I'm not going to do capabilities because I think skills is one. Oh, well, let's put capabilities. You want to add anything into that?
Give me some. I do not fully grasp the goal of your prompt here, so I don't think I can add to it.
Okay. The goal is to get a better word that is not capabilities spelled incorrectly.
You want to? Okay.
Right, here we go.
Dexterity, competency. I don't think that the word is the problem. I think that the definition is the problem. Why don't you try and define what you mean by capability without using the word capability, and we'll see where it fits.
There is. Although I have missed out, I agree.
Well, capability,
it's a single use,
a text file.
It's a testable thing. It does a thing. It's a black box. Right, but it's an intelligent black box. It's one step up from a tool.
No. So why don't you look up the Oxford definition of capability?
Yeah, okay.
And then you tell me how that compares.
I will do that just because you've been asking for it for last 10 minutes, and I know I'm wrong, and I've already said I'm wrong, but I'll do it anyway, so that you can give me those 3 beautiful words. I was right. The Oxford.
Yeah, I got it here.
Capability.
I got it here. Power or ability in general. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's an ability. You can do this thing.
Yeah, but an ability is not a text file, because that's what your definition is, and an ability doesn't mean that that's the thing that.
No, hold on. That first one I would disagree with, because everything is a text file. We've only got text files and models, but that's a pissy point, so I'll leave that to one side.
No, it's not. The text files are the medium of storage and the medium of message passing, but that doesn't mean that they're all that we have. Capabilities are enabled by the text files. It doesn't mean that the text file is a capability.
You're talking about the runtime.
I'm not talking about emergent. I'm talking about how a capability is in the English language, and it doesn't mean a text file.
Right. How about, I say, a bot has certain abilities to do something?
A bot has, it's got features. It's got properties.
Right. Well, that's in.
But you're saying that like capability is all that it does.
No. I'm saying a bot is a combination of capabilities.
Well, are you though? Like, can I see your definition again?
Oh yeah, let's see. Yep. I'll go back to. Right. Let's go.
Capability: a text file which can only be used as a subsection of a bot definition. That, when included with a bot definition, provides the instantiated agent or drone with additional functions. Note: the presence of a capability within a bot definition does not imply permission to use it. Capability template: a text file denoting a template to use when creating a new capability. You have absolutely no ability whatsoever to reliably combine any pieces of text into a sysprompt and guarantee me that the outcome will have been changed in some predictable way. You don't have that.
I disagree, but
you can't even.
But what we're talking about is right.
You keep trying to make it the same. We're not talking the same.
What? Call it a nApp. How would you change the capability? Let's call it a nApp.
That's not a capability. Is not an app. Well, an app is a tested unit of functionality. Capabilities are something it has. It doesn't have one capability or another. Right, it's got multiple ones.
Ignore capability. You rename. Okay, so you've just read the definition, and in here, this is where it is in the bot. There's all sorts of
but this whole thing is what I disagree with. You can't make bots like this. You've never made them like this. We can barely make them. Even if we handcraft the sysprompt ourselves, we can't make something reliable. You've got no hope at all of combining a sysprompt dynamically.
This is okay, right. Ignore capability. Let's call it a jube.
No, let's not call it a jube. You're just trying to. You're just trying to.
You choose a name of something. Say a bot can do one thing, just one. Oh,
a bot can do one thing.
Yeah, a second. Sorry about that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, give me an example. So, I'll give you a heads up. So, what I'm going to ask is, give me an example of a bot that can do one thing. Give me an example of a bot that can do two things, and then give me an example of another bot that can use one of those things that the first bot can do. Right? That's it. So, the modularity.
Could you answer that question?
Yeah. Well, I've tried, but I've failed.
I'm
saying that the thing that it's doing is an encapsulated piece of testable
no, there's something real different. No, you just asked me a question and then you said you have answered it, and then what you just said there sounds nothing like the answer to your own question.
So
you name me a bot that does one thing.
Right. Let me see. Right. Let's go back to Hammer. Right.
I guess Dumbot does one thing.
Right. Dumbot does everything. That's the problem. Permissions. Right. What can you do? Summary of permissions. Entities. This is. No, this is too old. That's even older. Let's see if it's done it here. Permissions, definitions, rules. No. Okay. All right. Say if right. What's the simplest bot we've got here? How to is pretty simple. No, it doesn't do it. Example drone. We don't do drones anymore. I can create you one, but just. I know we're getting.
I mean, listen. You're struggling
English
to answer your own question. You're struggling to answer your own question.
No. I'm
answer
not. I'm trying to explain to you in a way that we're not getting hung up on the word capabilities and the dictionary.
Then answer your own question that you just posed to me. What's a bot that does one thing?
Right. A bot that does one thing is, for example, check the weather.
So there's a weather bot that does one thing, and all it does is check the weather.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what's an example of a bot that does two things?
Check the weather and book a golf course.
The whole golf course?
Well, I don't know, round.
A round of golf. Okay. So you got a bot that can check the weather and can book around a golf. And I can imagine that would be useful because golf is very is difficult during inclement weather, and so having those two abilities together is useful, right?
Yeah.
And your last question was, name me a bot that does. What was the last question?
The last question is using one of those things.
Yeah.
Another bot is I want to book a business event.
What was your question? What was your question? I can't remember what the third one was.
It comes down to modularity. So I'm saying, name
what was the question?
One thing.
Yeah, one thing.
Name a bot that does two things.
Yeah.
And then name a bot a separate thing that uses the. I'm not going to struggle to say capability because we haven't got it, but just one of the things that the ability that one bot does without having to rewrite it because we've already tested it. So we know it can book a golf course. And now I've got a business meeting bot, and what it wants to do is.
Man, I'm sorry, I still don't get what was that third question.
That I'm just trying to explain it.
No, you tried to answer it.
Oh no, two bots. Okay.
So you got one bot that can do one thing, then you got a second bot that can do two things, and then your question was, give me a third bot that can do something that calls on those other two?
All right, okay.
Was that your question?
It wasn't, but I'll simplify it. You got one bot that can check the weather, do
Yeah,
nothing else.
yeah.
Right? You got another bot that can book golf courses.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can combine that in with another bot.
Right.
I'm adding, I know I'm breaking the rules, but I'm adding another bot, which is let's book a business event involving golf.
Okay, and
Okay.
that bot
We
would
don't care about
call
weather, but
that
we
bot
care
would
about
call the
booking golf.
weather bot, and it would call the golf bot to accomplish its task of being an event coordinator.
Right, and there may be another bot again, which is let's get enough sandwiches.
Sure, that all sounds great.
Okay, right. So each of those, the weather, the book the golf, the get the sandwiches thing, are combined on the fly because maybe nobody's thought about, okay, we want a business event that is dry, that everyone's got enough sandwiches and everyone's got a golf.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe that's never happened before. Now, my question is, what's the testable unit? Is it that we need to test the entire bot? We need to book at Glen Eagles and it has to be dry and it needs to be ham sandwiches bot, or do we test the sandwiches bot, the weather bot, and the booking golf bot individually? And then when we bring them together,
all of them. It's all of them. You test every unit absolutely thoroughly.
Right,
then,
okay.
When you know about some types of combinations, you test those as best you can, given that you don't really know all the combinations that can occur. But there will be ones that are more common than others, and stucks will form where the combination is an error that causes further testing. The error can only be within the components, and so you modify the components in some way or introduce a new component to be able to now solve this error that's occurred when you tried to combine them in a certain way for a certain task.
Right, exactly. So the question again is, what's the smallest unit that we can test?
It's
in that example.
Each individual bot is the smallest unit that you can test.
Right. So we can test the weather bot, we can test the sandwiches bot, we can test the book golf bot.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And we combine those together that nobody's ever done before, and then at runtime we test that. And we test that to make sure it doesn't break any of the rules.
It's not really being tested though, is it? That's being run. Like there's some checks that happen at runtime, like some assertions that are going on to make sure that it hasn't broken in weird ways. But the type of testing that happens at runtime is very different to the type of testing that happens at build time or compile time.
Right, exactly. So we've got our 3 Lego bricks.
Yeah.
Weather, sandwiches, golf.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is you put them together and there needs to be some kind of, at runtime, overall kind of overwatch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is the global rules, which I've got to find here.
No. Those are the global rules are used. The global rules are used to perform those runtime checks.
Oh, yeah, sure. But what you've got is, if you use this, you got 3 Lego bricks. The rules for each Lego brick have to be agreed to. You have to pass the test for those, and we can actually do that offline. You put those 3 Lego bricks together, and then what you got here now is another entity, and you've got some overarching things. Maybe you don't want to have the stripper bot.
Can you help me see where you're heading with this, though? I don't understand where you're going with it. I agree with you what you're saying, but now what?
My question is, what's this? I think you've already answered it. The lowest testable.
Yeah, I answered that definitely. I answered that. Yeah,
that's what I've confused things by calling it a capability. Tried to call it a jujube. We can call it an app. It doesn't matter. But that is the lowest testable thing that has intelligence.
It matters a lot what you call it.
Well, yes, it does. This is why I'm calling you. But
okay, and I gave you. I told you what the minimum is, and I told you what the contents of that is, and I gave you a name and a definition. Right. What's the problem?
The problem is the actual how we're the architecture is we're agreeing with. We're disagreeing on the name. And I'm saying I could call it Jube. Let's call it an app. I don't care. But what it is the lowest testable thing. But the important thing is at runtime, you can construct these things. And also, when you construct them, you also need a whole bunch of other rules just to make sure that you haven't introduced any unintended consequences by inviting a whole bunch of strippers to Glen Eagles over your ham sandwiches.
And you're asking what those are called? Those rules?
No, those are already in the definitions. Those are the global rules, which is why there's priority rules.
All right.
So you have local rules, which is
and you don't need to keep on just go. Just I don't see what the problem is.
Well, I don't.
You keep going.
Well,
you keep going.
Why
you keep going?
Because you keep on saying capabilities. We need to go to the Oxford Dictionary, and it's like, no, yes, the dictionary says ability. Let's call it ability. Let's call it a skill.
But a skill's not the smallest testable unit.
No, let's call it an app. But but
you want to name. There's a distinction between properties and things. Things have properties. You sound like you got in the world of trying to call properties things.
No. I don't know how often I need to say this. I apologize for using capabilities because I think in this example that we just given with the Glen Eagles thing.
All right. So how do we move on? How do we move on from that? How do we move on from that?
Name that smallest block that currently is.
I did. Why does my name not stick? Why does my name not stick?
Is it nApp?
Yes.
Let's call it nApp. But does it change any of the architecture or any of the meaning, other than the fact that I've missed out the fact that it's testable individually? Which
it does change the architecture because it does not involve dynamically composing a system prompt.
Okay. What do you mean by system prompt here?
You said a bot template. You said a bot template, right? And you said a bot template is made up of all these things. And I vehemently was like, that is impossible. You will never get that to work.
But this is...
Which I might add, I hardly ever say.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's true.
Right? And so when I do say it, I would expect you to at least pay some attention. That's not going to work.
Because... again, I'm feeling like I am actually quite tired, and I apologize for it.
All right. Do you want to just put the bone down and just leave it? Because it sounds like you might be not really getting anywhere.
No, I want to get this final thing. What I'm talking about here is, all right, let's go back to Lego bricks, right? A Lego brick is a nApp, right? You put a few Lego bricks together. And you have some rules about it. I want to build a castle from Lego bricks.
Okay.
And then you say what a castle is, and you've got tests about what it looks like a castle.
Okay.
That's not a dynamic system prompt. There's nothing dynamic about that. You've got Lego bricks, and you've got a definition of what a castle looks like. You build a castle. Does this look like a castle? Yeah. Then you got a thing.
In that bot template, were you intending it to be a text file where the contents of the text file was modularly swapped in and out with some other units of text that had been tested in some way?
Yeah. So
So that thing you can't do that. You can't do that.
So hold on a second.
You can't do that in a natural language, and you can't do that in code. That is no system is composed like that.
Hold on a second. Right there.
Yep.
Test file runner. This is your file.
Yep.
That's what the Lego brick is. That's
right. But no, that's not a Lego block. Yeah. But you're trying to get me to call something a Lego block that's one level up. Those things that make up the Lego block, they're not. That's not a Lego block.
No, it's inserted at runtime, right?
No, it's inserted at compile time because you test with that in there. You don't dynamically insert it. Runtime things are dynamic.
Right. Okay. So at the point of using the test file runner, test format, the contents of this, is added.
Yes.
Okay, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
you end
so
up with one
yeah, so that's
big
different.
thing.
That's different to saying what is the minimum unit of testability, because this test format is not testable as an agent that gives people capabilities on its own. So that is too small a unit to be the smallest unit of testability.
All right, but look, you got test agents and you got test file runner. This agent helps you. It's all over here, which is basically cut
Yeah,
and
and it's
paste
pulling
right into.
it's pulling in that
Yeah.
piece, but that piece is not is too small to be the smallest unit of testability. You're testing
Okay.
what is assembled from it, right? But
Yeah.
you can't say that like to some degree Duplo works with Lego in some circumstances. Even though Lego's
Yeah.
much
Usually
smaller.
using glue, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're trying
Okay.
to say you want a definition of a Lego block for our system, and I'm saying that it's a nApp, and I'm saying that a nApp is composed of the components I listed, and some of those components are comprised of even smaller components, like the test format and all that.
Okay.
But
So
that's
in
not the unit.
so
The
yeah.
unit of testability is the nApp, that
Right.
package.
That's what I'm after. The smallest unit testability. Now in
Yep,
the previous golfing thing, we had 3 units of testability.
that's right.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Right. So we've
inside the
got
system
those.
prompts that run those agents, there may be shared elements taken from some kind of library of text.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that those text components are testable units in the same way that those bots are testable. Because
But
you can't.
they have to be testable. Look, the capability is essentially a mini bot that makes sure that it does what it does, input and then output black box, and it's got its own set of local rules, its own identity,
No,
its
man.
objective.
Look, you lost me, man. You really have. You lost me.
Okay, all right, okay,
I'm telling you very clearly what the nApp architecture is. If you want to do something different to it and see where it takes you, that's fine. But you keep trying to get me to agree to what you're saying, and I don't. I don't agree with it. I think it's
okay.
wrong.
Well, let me take a step back then, and if you've got time
I have
and
time.
patience, and patience as well. Um, so, uh, give me a rough idea of what a template of a nApp is, without talking about any particular nApp. What's inside of a nApp?
Inside of a nApp is the agent file, which is the system prompt with the imported pieces of library code, such as the test format file or whatever other units of canonical knowledge we want to use to build up that system prompt. The nApp includes tools, which are conventional code elements that it uses to impress upon the world in some way. It includes the test files that were used to generate the scenarios under which we deliver this tested unit of this tested unit, the nApp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it includes some contextual data that it may choose to look up on the fly. We haven't got any such thing implemented, but one example of where we wanted to do that is where the switchboard has a list of agents that it pulls in on the fly. And so,
Okay,
yep.
right. That's
Plus
good.
other types of places where that would apply is things like a knowledge base, where you'd sort of ship the nApp with a bunch of proprietary or customized knowledge pieces that are pulled in as needed.
Okay. Now, help me out here. Um, delete or add to this list. I'll take a copy so I can compare afterwards from what you just said. Just delete or add.
What's the purpose of this list? What is this list even for?
Because
like, this is crazy. You're just asking, you're like, here's this list. What is it? And you're like, change it, add to it. What does it even do?
You just said it needs a whole bunch of tools. Okay, so
are you trying to? Do you want me to convert this into a nApp? A definition of a nApp.
I want you to say what the delta is between that definition of the headers that are inside of an app to what you've just said. And
okay, so I changed the name to be away from capability template, and I would make that be the nApp. I think you'd call that a manifest.
Okay.
Because it's really like it's a list of the things that are in the nApp, whereas a template is something that you fill in to become the thing.
Okay, so right.
So you'd have a nApp ID, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Sorry. Yeah. Typing. Okay.
Config. I don't know what you'd put in there really. Commands would be tools.
Yep. We changed the name of that yesterday. Yep. The config. I'm not entirely sure what config does, but I saw it in one of your other.
Well, there's config. There's so where is the place where the agent file goes? What's the name of the agent file?
Let's just let's keep on task on what.
That's what I am. Yeah. So inside the nApp, there's an agent file. Where is that here?
We don't have agents. What do you mean by an agent?
An agent file, like what we've been writing the entire system out of, is the thing that a nApp wraps.
Okay, so an agent file would have. Right. Let's just call it an agent file for now.
Well, what else are we going to call it?
Well, we're not using agent. So it's an overview. That is
why not?
What you do.
Why not?
Well, you just said you don't like agent because it's too static.
Yeah, and then we spoke about it more. It's like when I'm talking to you, you're dropping like 50% of the things that we're talking about.
So agent is still in. Okay. Right. Let's go to any other thing here. No, let's go to
like these are agent files, right? And we've through a lot of pain. This format's working for us, right?
Yeah, your rule, your terms in the process, right? So we've got three things.
Well, yeah, but it's not for you to say what that is. Like at the level of defining what the nApp is, this is just your take on it as Mr. Maxwell.
I'm asking for your take on it.
I'm saying that's out of the scope of definition of what a nApp is. You're free to put anything you like in there. That's freeform text.
Okay.
Now you with your experience prompting have chosen a specific format based on a current generation of models. That doesn't mean that that's how it's always going to be.
Sorry, what bloody file is in? Where's DC? Go on. DC
under definitions down there.
Info. No, it's info. Oh, there it is. Okay, so an agent file is who you are, what our definitions are.
The agent file is basically the programming of the LLM. That's the system prompt.
It is a system prompt for this very specific thing. So it
could
be
nApp.
Something like, so this nApp just does one thing, right?
Not necessarily. It can, if you want it to be the thing that does one thing.
Oh, to go back to, right, this is the thing that books the golf course at Glen Eagles.
Okay, that's new. That's the first time you told me that.
I'm just trying to help. Or books the ham sandwiches, or checks the weather.
Okay, but what difference is that going to make, though? Isn't the layout of a nApp going to be the same, no matter what?
Yes, exactly.
So
Right. So
why are you changing the question or redefining the question you're
because
asking?
no, I'm asking you. So my assertion is, when you weren't looking at the definition that I've got here, forget the name capability.
Yep.
The contents of what was needed
Yep.
was pretty damn close to exactly what you said,
Okay.
and I'm asking for the delta. Did
Yeah,
do you want to
the
delete
delta
anything
would, yeah,
or add anything?
I would want to drop everything from the cursor down and delete it.
Well, that.
Yeah, because that's all you've just made that up. Yeah, like you haven't been
No, I haven't. That's just what we need in an agent. So an
No, it's
agent with
not. No, no,
one
no, 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 no.
capability.
You've just made that up. You've discovered that over the last few weeks, and you haven't tested it because we haven't got a fully functional agent yet.
Okay.
And so
So if
you
we were
can't,
to
right? You can't just say that that's
right,
how it's going to be. That's
okay,
how you'd like it
right,
to be, but that's not.
right.
Yeah.
Give me an example of how to run capability ID that doesn't matter for this instance. So all you got is config. You're saying config doesn't really
I
matter.
don't know what that is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all you got commands,
Yep.
and those are tools.
Yep. That's right. And then you've got
So
the
a nApp
agent
is a
file.
tool.
No. You've got the agent
Okay.
file, which is how you
All
run the
right.
LLM.
All right. What's inside of an agent's file?
An agent file contains the sysprompt and the connection to the tools. So the agent file is the same as the agent files we've been writing. You've been writing. It's one of those files.
Okay. A second. Right. I'll ignore the capabilities for now. Or I can include. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Why are you trying to drag that all in as the definition of an agent?
Because if you have bot with one and only one um, uh, capability, optional, no capability, provided the agent uses bare AI. So without a capability, it is a dumb bot, right? So is there anything here that you'd delete?
What is this? Is
This
this the
is the
definition
definition
of an
of an
agent?
agent. Yeah.
Well, none of that needs to be there because these are just you've started describing things that you've only recently learned are useful. This is your theoretical implementation. This is not the format of what an app is. It's freeform text inside of the programming for an LLM. It doesn't have to be these things.
Well, I've started to get, well, as you know, I've started to get a lot closer to actually not being freeform text.
Yeah, but that's just
Okay,
today, and
okay,
that's
contact.
just for
Well, it's not.
4.0 and for
Even
oh
if you
01.
go back
Dude,
for commands, it's the same thing.
nothing here is concrete and forever because the next model that comes out, you're going to find something different.
Okay, but the
So
thing,
why bring it in now? Why bring these structures that are recent and temporary into something long-lived and general, such as the
oh,
agent file?
well, so
There is no need to bring in
the
such detail at this level.
Well, the reason is every time we wanted to do something new, it was another agent, another agent, another agent, another agent. Now, can I ask you a question? When you remember 2 days ago when I showed you those three sheets of paper, you said, "Oh my God, that's awesome." All this is I've tried to instantiate this into actual written text,
Yeah, and
as
now
opposed to
you've gone off piste with it. You've gone off piste with it because I can
all
see
right.
now that what was happening was that you what you defined was like a layer, an inversion layer, like what happens in the atmosphere. And you looked at that and went whoopee, and then dove down into the details of all these things. I went whoopee and shot up to the high level view of what it
Yeah,
means.
that was
Yeah,
our discussion
yeah,
yesterday, and
yeah,
it's like, yeah, we
yeah,
did that layers thing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so now you're still trying to get me to talk about the packaging structure whilst you keep trying to lift your detail level up. Your detail level's another way down. You should call that like Scott's version of an agent prompt. It's not canonical. It's not the way.
I
It's
never
a
said it was
way.
canonical.
Yeah, but you're pulling it in at the canonical level. We're trying to say what a
No,
nApp is.
no. I didn't. Yesterday, I specifically said this is an app that runs, and anyone else can write another Dreamcatcher if they want to take the
Yeah, but
effort
just the
for it.
Dreamcatcher doesn't have to have priority definitions and all that. You can still run these things in the Dreamcatcher framework if you don't have that. Sure, that they may
Yeah.
perform. Yeah, so why put them in here if you can do that
Because
without them?
I think they're necessary in order to get it to perform well. That's all.
Okay, can
And
you
the only
not
difference,
encapsulate them at a different layer?
well, it's just a text file. Which layer do you want me to? I can't go to artifact, and there's no layer up. Just a text file.
But when you're talking about what a nApp is, you can talk about what an agent file is, and then you can say that the contents of the agent file is freeform text. Then you can say separately that here's an implementation of how you might structure that freeform text for the sake of performance. But there's going to be...
I know what to do, actually. Right. Bear with us, because I think... bear with me, because I'm going to have to pull from another screen. I'm going to get the... Because you and I were in sync on those images, right? That sent over to...
No, we weren't in sync on them because they were so messy and vague that no one could interpret them. We were in sync on the fact that there's the need for this packaging format, and it has serene implications for how we view the structure overall. Those diagrams, I mean, who could read those?
All right. Okay. Let me get it up. Second. Shit. I just want to know what your thinking was, because that would really help me. Right. Okay. So I'll not show the whole thing, but your rounding up of it was, mate. Thank you. That was excellent clarity of thought there. You pierced through a whole bunch of fuzz, and now we see clearly.
Yep.
Now.
And now you've muddied it. You've muddied it by trying to stuff too much stuff into the nice clear.
Right. So what I want to understand is what to do next, because all I was trying to do today was implement name changes. Like we'll get rid of two drones. We had tools.
Yeah.
We combine those three.
So what I think you should be doing is focusing on the essential elements. The essential elements are the interface between Artifact and Botland. All this other stuff, like priority rules and all that, that's pure Botland.
Yeah, but the next thing, remember what I'm trying to do here is to get something that will be able to write tests, to write CRM.
Yeah, but you don't need it. To write a test, you probably don't need to know about the domain language of nApps. Right? Do you?
Yeah, definitions. I don't know. I've said this a lot. I'm not bothered.
Your brain's falling apart because you're trying to have too many layers in one layer. You're trying to get all the definitions in one place. You'll die.
Well, no. Actually, what I'm trying to do is modularize the definitions.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you what you're trying to do. You're definitely trying to pack all the definitions into one single place, and the world's not made like that. You can't pack them like that.
But if you don't do definitions,
yes, we know about that. But you're not layering. You're not layering. You can't have a flat definition that covers everything.
No, I'm not.
Right?
I've got global. I've talked about this. There's priority levels on definitions, and there's priority levels on rules.
Yeah, but those are layers within a larger layer. We're talking about the nApp layer, right? Then below that is the bot layer. That's where the priority rules go. That's where the global definitions go. They don't have any business in the nApp layer, right? The nApp layer is the packaging layer, the deliverability layer, the composability into jitters. That's not even got anything to do with it.
So if okay, so right, I think I'm starting to understand where you're coming from. Um, so what you're worried about is you get too many definitions. Let's say if we have our three golfy typey, Lego bricks, which are agreed is the lowest level thing that you can test. Now, inside of those, let's say we define ham as in, I don't know, pepper ham or, who knows, there's probably three, four different types of ham. It's defined there. And then it's put into another bot. Uh, those That definition of ham shouldn't be inherited into the wrapper, which is organizing the your golf expedition, and shouldn't be
Yeah,
inherited into your business thing.
yeah,
Is that the case?
yeah.
So it's the inheritance. It's not the level of testability, because I think we've been talking about the same level of
No,
testability
we haven't. No, we haven't. But
with
that doesn't
different
take
names.
away from. We have not been talking about the same level of testability, but that doesn't take away from what you're saying there about how something to do with ham and how the serviettes should be laid on the table has got no business even appearing on the
Right.
same screen as how a nap gets assembled.
Right. Okay. So go back. And God knows how many minutes I've lost. So I said there's two ways of doing this. Right. You could pull in, like you've got the capability of, effectively you just cut and paste from another file into that. You have a big long prompt. None
Yep.
of it is generated. All of it is just cut and paste. Then you
Right.
run that. And in each part that you cut and paste, you don't go below the point where it doesn't make sense, because you can't test it.
Well,
So
yeah.
it's like,
So,
what is
for
a ham
example,
sandwich? What is a ham sandwich, for
for
example?
example, the test format file can't really be tested at runtime because it needs to be used in a bot to be
Right,
tested.
right, right,
Now
exactly.
you
So
can have
there's
different kinds of tests on that format thing, like is it coherent? Does it use simple words? Is it missing anything? That's different. That's not testing the nap. That's testing like all the little bits. That's I would put that at the same level as why I would test the tools that run. Like you're not including how I run the Jest test framework on all of the tools because it doesn't belong here because you can black box that off and treat that as a totally separate thing and only
okay.
move it
So
around
there's
by its
right,
interfaces.
right. I got you. I got you. So we go back. I don't know, possibly even an hour right now. Right. I said there's two ways of doing this, and I started to talk about one way, which was effectively an agent can orchestrate, and an agent then can orchestrate and down. Now, in this case, it'll be like your top level How, who knows nothing about uh, business functions. We go, business function guy. What do you need? We need ham sandwiches. We need a golf course. We need good weather. And it's like, okay, right.
Yeah,
Go to those agents, right? And each of those agents are, individually testable. So
but
that's the first way.
they come
Yeah,
packaged as an app
yeah.
and they're
Now
tested as a unit
yep.
and
So
they can
the
be called upon and relied upon to do certain things.
exactly. So the second way is you've got these inserts where your prompt is saying, all right, here are your, you are the business bot,
Yeah.
business, golf bot. Right. Here, your top level intent is to have a good business meeting. In order to do that, you have to make sure there's sandwiches there. Here is what you need to do to get sandwiches. Boom. You need to book the golf course. Boom. You need to avoid hookers. Boom. Or whatever. So that is something you can pull on the fly. Now, both are equally functional. You can do the same thing with both.
No,
You can pull in each of these,
no, you
or
can't. You cannot get the same level of quality out of the second method that you described.
I think you can get okay, right. There's no point in arguing that one, because all I'm saying is by adding in wrapper constraints, you can actually stop it doing stuff. For example, right, you've got
I
your
don't need an
sandwich
example.
bot,
I don't need an example. I know what you
right,
mean, and I'm telling you
right,
you're wrong. And you want to keep going with it, fine. But there's no point giving me more and more examples. I'm
okay,
saying you're wrong. You're saying you're not. Fine, that's fine. We
okay.
don't have to agree on it.
Well, the I guess the thing is what to do next, because In order to do the first one, all I need to do is to cut and paste out into different bots. So I would pull out an individual. Well, I would define a format for. I'd say what an agent is. You need these things. I would define that as a test, so we know whether it's a bot or it's just garbage. And then I would try it out by saying, let's have
yeah, that might be
trucking
that
bot.
you might be going too far in the weeds there, because at some point it's not bots all the way down, and so at some point you end up having to kick out into the next system. And so I have that in Artifact, that it does a very strict check on the format of an agent file. And so that's not
Okay.
that's not something that you can actually do in
right.
natural language. Now, the test format was the first level that we were able to actually define it in Botland, right? But bots themselves can't be defined in Botland because
My argument is that in order to transform it from where we are now, what I'm really going to be doing is going to be breaking it up and then writing a bunch of tests about what this capability, sorry for the name, this nApp, is. And that's all I'm doing.
Now,
everything else remains the same.
The second method you suggested of dynamically inserting pieces of assist prompt on the fly and doing whatever lightweight testing you can manage to do at runtime to get your results from, you can still deliver that in a nApp, because the nApp format allows you the freedom to do that. Okay? The nApp format is the key to the whole thing, and it permits both those modes of operation inside the nApp.
I'm still not clear on that, because we went through what a nApp format is, and all it is a bunch of commands.
No, we didn't, because you cut it off and didn't listen to the parts I wanted to add in, and then refused to delete the parts that I wanted to, and gave me a whole lots of reasons why. So that's why that's not done.
I apologize. Can we do it now?
Okay.
That's the wrong one. It's an info.
DC definitions. There we go.
And where was it? That was the original. That's where we left off. Okay, so what would you like to add back in?
I need the agent file.
Okay. So what's inside of an agent file?
Inside an agent file is the link to the tools.
Okay, how does that differ from these?
Well, the tools are the binary code, but the agent file within it needs to have a connection to those tools, like how to call them, what parameters do I need to add, when should I call them.
That's the config, and config plus tools, and is it?
Well, the agent file is. Why stop now?
I'm trying to, because I'm trying hard here, man. Come on.
Yeah, I would call that the tool. What about the tool link? Because I wouldn't call it config, because yeah, I think that's it. The tool. The tool interfaces. That's what it has. The agent file has the tool interfaces. The tools themselves are the code. The interfaces are what the agent uses to call it.
So this is an interface. And how previously we had commands. How does that differ?
Same thing. That's what it is. We agreed that we would rename command as tool.
Okay.
Okay. Right. And then you need the model, which is the LLM, some way to signal, which LLM you want to call.
Choice, yep.
Let me just. There was some other stuff that was like, the config was unique to, like, each model appears to have a config that it needs, like it's like the temperature settings, what do we call that?
So that's under model. So
Yeah,
model config.
yeah, config. I'll just say config model. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then let me pull up my list of things I wanted to make in the future.
Just for the avoidance of doubt, I'm not trying to be an arse in any of this. I know it may sound it.
I think what would happen is that it would be good if you re-listen to this conversation while you're relaxing. I think you might find
I will do. I will do.
that you've lost some capabilities due to
I
your
might
heroic
being
effort
up,
to try and get as much out of your head as you
having
could. And I don't want to at all take away.
3 hours sleep in the last
Yeah.
fucking 36.
Well, yeah, I haven't had much sleep either, buddy. But
Yeah.
it's
Oh well, yeah, you're worse. Like you got chronically lack of sleep.
so those are just there was a description which turned out to be quite important for the file. It's like the advertisement of what does it do. So the description seemed important.
Description.
And then instructions. DX
is the oh fucking hell.
What you doing?
I'm one key over it. It's because I've used this laptop for so long. The home keys are gone, so I can't tell. This description of what you can do.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep. And then instructions. And now you're in natural language world.
Process.
What?
Which instructions of the process, right?
No, instructions of the sysprompt.
Give me some detail. What would be inside of
anything you like? Yeah. You are a belligerent ass. You are to argue with everything, and you are to forget half of what you argued about every 5 minutes.
With Tom, because he never fucking
something like that, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Really what the nApp is about is bridging the world between inference computation and traditional classical computation. And that's that's the missing platform in the world, is this ability to bundle these things.
Can I work with you and add a couple things? Is that all right?
No. Depends what the things are.
Okay, well, I can always delete them. Description of what you can do. Description of what you can't.
No, dude, no. Why do you keep trying? You're just trying to complicate it. Why do you want to add things in?
It goes off and does things.
What goes off? What goes off?
The AI goes off.
No. Like you need to make this pure and simple, and then if you're finding the AI misbehaving, you need another layer that deepens it in a way that is specific for the AI. A human doesn't need to see such simple, silly things.
Right. There you go. That's my instructions. Describe a pitch.
Okay, and you'd need to delete description of what you can't do, because that's
all right.
First of all,
you're a human, and I know what I intend from that. There's instructions. That's all I can need. Describe a pitch.
Okay. And I think that's all you need in an agent file.
No. I'm asking you.
What?
I'm asking you to roleplay that agent. Follow those instructions.
Why? You just gave that as an example. That's, of course, a ridiculous system prompt.
Well, it is a valid one.
Yeah, and that's fine. But we're not trying to define everything required to make a valid system prompt here. That's a different layer. This is the description of what the nApp layer is. And at the nApp layer, it doesn't matter what the instructions are.
No. This is the nApp layer.
Yeah.
This is the agent file. You're saying an
This is
agent file
part of
is
the
a
nApp
30.
layer. This is part. You
Okay.
wanted me to describe what a nApp is.
All right. So where do I
Where do you
give
describe
more
what the
information?
instructions are?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, they're very specific to the model choice, the who you are as a prompt
All right.
engineer, and all those kinds of things. So
Okay.
they're not actually um, like I notice you don't ask me what are the tools. Like you're stuck in instruction land because you know it. You've never once asked me
No.
what's in the tools, how do I test them, what's the interface to that, right? You're over indexing on what you've learned about sysprompting and instructions, but you need to layer this out. It's not the layer for the intrinsics of what happens inside instructions.
Okay. But that is not what I'm asking. I'm trying to make a point here. You know I'm trying to make a point, right?
I don't see your point.
All
What do
right.
you, because and it would help if you said your point. Like, what are you actually trying to say?
Okay, what's the definition of a pitch? A pitch can be something you play a game on. It could be something that you throw a ball during a
Yeah.
game.
So,
It
and so
could be
what's the
something you
point
do
of
in
that?
a business thing.
What's the
It
point of
could
telling me
be
that words have multiple meanings depending on the context? What's the point?
because you need to give it context. The more context you give it,
Are
the
you
better. And it
trying to?
can't all be in instructions. You need to say, "I'm not."
Yeah, but
I'm
that's not
talking
this
about.
layer.
I'm talking about football, and then you say, "Describe a pitch," and it knows what it does.
That's not this layer.
So which layer does it go in?
One layer down.
Okay, so what's down from here?
Down from here would be a layer that describes um, what the instructions are of an agent file in detail, but it doesn't go
Okay.
here.
All right. So,
But
okay. So what's let's say we've got this.
yeah, and then
The reason
all
reason
of that under there,
oh,
all of that, that's your
yeah.
problem. That's all your problem under there. My problem is everything above it.
So
You can do anything
this
you like in there.
is
From that line
all
down,
right.
I don't care, right?
Ah, fine. All
But
right.
just
Well,
keep it out of the nap space because it doesn't belong there.
so if I go there, I'm not doing config, I'm not doing commands, so I'm not stepping on that. Commands, tool interface. The instructions,
You
I
probably
could probably
need
go down overview.
you probably need overview.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
You need you need overview in there actually because I think that actually description doesn't belong in the agent file. It belongs in the nap level.
okay, so if we put in, well, we got
So
description of what
description
it can
goes
do.
up
So
one.
yeah, okay. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's an app.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Let's get rid of this. Right. So that is a nApp manifest is a bunch of commands and description of what it can do.
Bunch of tools because commands was
Sorry.
legacy.
Yeah. Well, let's update that. Tools and without tools it's just description. So required is kind of superfluous. Okay. And then we've
Tools, description, agent file. There's also knowledge or like extra information.
where does that go?
Uh, Adjacent to at the same level of tools, description, agent file. So it's like contextual knowledge or
So that is something like overview.
no, it's knowledge specific to that nap. It might be a pre-populated Rolodex of customers. It might be every make and model of
Oh,
Toyota
so
car.
it's
That
like
like the
target data, something like that. It's like the actual stuff you're talking about, as opposed to
yeah, knowledge base
yeah,
is a good word for that. Or the retrieval
knowledge
base, something like that.
base. I'll link to. Right. So in this case, for a CRM, it's like
It's not a link. There's no point calling it a link.
what
It's just the knowledge base.
okay. All right. So that is literally
Natural language knowledge.
So if, for example, in the CRM a customer's telephone number? Would it go in there?
That's a good question. No, not in the package, not in the nApp manifest. Once it was instantiated and running, yes. But you might want to. The knowledge base, I would imagine, is like say example data for the CRM. It might be some basic.
Like
It might be some. No, not examples. It might be the starting template. Like the starter for 10 layout of what the CRM is.
Right. So like something like that. Yeah. I haven't actually filled that one, but I have one of the stocks. This one. So it's like here's what a. Yeah, ignore what that is. But
Yeah, like a
it's a
format.
preform.
Yeah, but it's any form of like the purpose of an app is to bridge between natural language and traditional code, and so there is a need for a type of natural language knowledge to come with the stuck. That's like it's seed data.
Right. So that is it's not knowledge base. It's template. It's like
It's not a
templates
template.
of.
No, it's knowledge. It's definitely knowledge. Template means it's generic.
So what's it was examples. What's in that? It's like is it
Initial data or base data, the base data set, primary data
like
set,
a schema?
starting data set,
Like
initial
a schema
data.
thing?
It's not schema, it's knowledge.
Knowledge of what though?
Knowledge of the topic that the nApp deals with, But anyway, we can figure out what that is.
Okay, all right.
Specialty
So,
knowledge, something like that.
all right.
We can name it later. I think we do agree on what it is at least. Yeah.
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 So,
Okay. And then that you seemed delighted when you were about to delete a bunch of stuff. When I was like, everything below that cursor, you can do anything you like with.
Yeah, because that's basically what got up here.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I've lost it. Where is it? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then everything you were talking about with priority definitions, global definitions, and all that, that's that one layer down. That's purely in natural language land. The nApp is the interface between natural language and inference. Between natural language and classical code.
Yeah.
And that's why this interface needs to be thin, concise, general.
Yeah.
But underneath, you're talking about instructions land because, to repeat myself again, you have not once poked at me as to what's inside tools. But I could bombard you with the same amount of stuff like priority rules, top level describe blocks, nested test steps, before, after, the web-based test versus the integration test versus the unit test. I could go on and on and on, just like you are inside the instructions zone. But I don't because it doesn't belong here. I black box that for you so that we don't get overwhelmed.
No, that's cool. I'm just trying to get this required to carry out the sort of tasks that.
No, you can't. You can't use the same word inside the definition of the word. It's a list of classical code.
I've done the definition as an app. Defining it as a list of tools which require sort of tasks that be carried out.
Oh, you're trying to define what an app is?
Yeah.
It's not a list. It's a package. And it's not tools. It's a package of.
Package.
I'd just say it's a package. No, it's not because tools is part of the package. But there's other things besides tools.
Package.
A package that bridges natural language to conventional code.
Bridges. NL to fuck's sake. NL to code.
Yeah.
Which is required to carry out the sort of task that can be.
That makes no sense. Required to carry out the sort of task that you can carry out
is described. It's like it's not. Well, actually, you don't need that. because
You don't. It's like
a
that's what it
package
does.
that bridges NL to code using the following. That's it.
Yep. Perfect.
So all you got is tools, description where it can do,
Yep.
um, and some natural language.
Some base knowledge and the agent file.
And at least one agent, or one, or only one.
I would say only one, but you're welcome to nest them. It's just that there's an entry point. There's like an entry agent, because keep in mind that the extra thing you got to add is dependent naps. So like arbitrarily many naps underneath can be called upon by this nap to fulfill its task.
Dependencies. Go away.
Go away.
Fuck.
Go away.
Other naps. Okay, right. So that means you can have naps all the way down.
Correct.
And each nap, we're saying one agent file for now. But if it's one,
it doesn't. The best way to say that is to say and an entry agent file. So you could have other agent files, but you need to present one as the entry point, because that's like that's equivalent to HAL in the old system. It's the place that you interface with the nApp from.
So that means another way of saying that is an agent file can call other agent files.
Correct.
Or other naps.
Well, both. It could be both. It's free to do as it pleases within the package boundaries, but it is cleaner, I expect, to be calling other naps, because it's like tested units.
Okay, let's go with
and
that.
this is the principle and the philosophy behind all the great software frameworks of the last 20 years. As soon as the package manager was born, the software industry went ballistic. So, that's Python packages, Node packages, all these things. As soon as they had that, the reliability went sky high, the productivity went sky high. It all just went mental.
I just made a change, but I've undone it just to make sure. Okay, I'm just changing tool interface, previously commands.
Yep.
Just to be tools, because I think it's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. The tools are the code. The interface is how you call them. The interface is akin to like header files in C or C in C++, but the tools themselves would be the source code.
Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. Well, I am, so you're probably just getting a different place and thinking, why do you not shut up and off? Sorry.
No, that's I get what you're trying to do.
Source code. Right. Okay. So is that can call other naps?
Yep.
And by calling other nap, that nap itself has another entry file, and you got them, and you go do as many times as you want, all the way down.
All the way down.
At each point, we've got a knowledge base, so it's like you get more and more specific, but that knowledge base is about the tools.
Yep.
And about what you're trying to do in the package.
Yep.
But it has nothing to do with. There's no niceties in there. It's like, do this. We're quite close to the coal face here, right? Or are we? I don't know.
Well, it's designed to be minimal. It's like this is as minimal as you can get, and then your implementation is can be many different things. The tools could be in Python or JavaScript or C#. Your agent file could be running on a Gemini model. It could be running on Llama. Your instructions could be purely vectorized. It's entirely up to you. But if we can present these things with the standard interface, then I can make a nApp that calls this other nApp that works in ways that I don't really understand, but I know it works good.
Right. I'm going to use a bot, but only as a placeholder, because I want to see how this fits in it. It doesn't need to know about tools.
Can you get rid of the 3 headings? Why are there headings on agent file?
Just so.
No, not on nApp, on agent file. Why has agent file got a heading?
What do you mean?
See how it's got 3 shebangs, 3 hash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that there?
Just because it was doing the same as nApp.
But the agent file is within the nApp manifest.
But it's a separate unit because you said that it can go round and round and round.
What?
Or it can just, I guess, be all the way around. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So essentially that can call naps. Can it call itself?
Can a nApp call itself?
No, can an agent file call the nApp that it belongs to?
Yep. Just like a node package can call the node package that it's part of.
All right.
Why? I don't know. But hey, if you're paying, you can do anything.
So what? Now let's see this. Defined as a package that bridges. Okay, that's fine. So you got tools, so you can do stuff in the real world.
Yep.
And that's source code. And there's a bit of help about what to do. A bit of context about why we don't want to do it. See?
Yeah, but that description is deeper than that. That's that sort of advertisement of like the domain specific language that this nApp is about. So just like how I was like under instructions, you can say anything you want, just don't say it here. Same with description. It's almost like in a system oriented architecture, you need to advertise what the contract that you fulfill is going to be. Naps need to do that. Now we will have to pick an initial format and it will be like, compatible with blah, blah, blah. But that advertisement of what you're doing is essential, and that's what the description is. It's far deeper than just a pretty little nApp that can book golf courses for you. It's like much more.
Yeah, it's a bit like a service-oriented architecture. It's like I'm here and I do this, and
it allows it to be found. It allows it to be communicated with effectively.
Yeah, and then it's got an agent file in there. Okay, and then I'm going to take this away.
Now, why didn't you put a minus sign in front of agent file?
Because I didn't get to that bit. Good point. No, wait. There you go.
It's crooked now. I mean, is it? Can I get a straight one? I mean,
I can do that.
Can you though? It's missing the space.
Nope.
Yep. That's it. Yep.
And then that's description.
Yep.
More choice. No, that was an example. Take the O1 away.
Yep.
But that is a thing.
Yep.
Got the wrong thing as well. A thing. And that is a thing. Right. And that is also a thing.
Yep.
Now, this is I'm going to
an example of the thing. Yeah.
Well, it's so you've got let's see, there's description up here what you can do, and then you've got an agent file. The instructions is how to do the thing that your nApp that you belong to does.
Yeah, and you don't; those two things don't have to match up. But when all the orchestrators get together and compare notes and reputation, your nApp's going to get rated pretty low if it does something different to what it advertises.
The thing your nApp
advertises.
Advertises. Good word for it. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. So.
Okay.
Right. We're getting there. So I need to stay away from agent as a definition. So I'm going to, for now, I'll just call it bot. Right?
Why?
So
Why? It's an agent file like what we've called all the things in our system agents. Why are you now stepping away from it?
Okay, so
why do you do this?
An agent is part of a nApp.
An agent file is part of a nApp. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're that would be then I would change that to put the 3 things back in and then say a link to an agent file or a name of an agent file.
And then define it separately. You need to reuse it. Okay. But don't you only Do you though, or do you only need to reuse the instructions?
Which instructions?
The agent file
These ones.
instructions. Yeah.
Well, at the moment, the tools interface is the config and commands header, right?
No, it's not the config header.
Hold on.
Are you going to?
I just want to check, see if that's not right. We're in the info, that's why. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Get back to info.
You could fold down that timeline window to give yourself some more.
No, I don't know. Upset.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's painful now. Okay, so that is exactly the same as what we've been using, right?
Yep.
Now, the instructions. Yep.
Is also exactly the same as you've been using, but you've made a lot of progress on the structure to be put inside of those instructions.
Yes.
Right? But the reason why you know it doesn't belong here is because it's all natural language. The nApp is about the horrible mixing between iron and clay.
I want nothing to do with naps, though.
Naps want nothing to do with you too, but
this is like,
I know, but I don't want anything to do with prompting, right? I don't want anything to do with prompting, but you and I have to come together at the nApp interface to produce units of reusable code. I make the tools, you make the prompt. Sometimes we both stray into each other's territory. We regret it instantly, but sometimes it's necessary.
Okay, right. So if I do, so I'm now saying that an agent file is a file type. You agree? And a nApp.
A nApp would be a folder.
Yeah. But it could be a folder if it had more than one agent file, I guess. But yeah, I'll just say
folder. It would always be a folder. It needs to be wrapped.
Which folder for an agent file? Is that accurately?
It's one of the things that it contains in it.
How would you do it then? Folder which? What's the folder?
Well, hang on. Wait, this list was things that go within the nApp manifest, and now you've just started at the same level talking about a folder. Like, that makes no sense to talk about that here.
Okay, let me undo it and do it the other way of doing it. Eventually. Right, there's where we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, otherwise, what I would do is I would just duplicate this.
What are you trying to do from here on in though? We reached agreement on what the contents of a nApp manifest are. Now what?
Right. Okay. So, what if you got a dump bot? There's no need for any tools.
Yeah. 0 tools is still tools.
So you got 0 tools, 0 dependencies.
Yep. 0 knowledge.
Advertising anything.
You got an agent file. You got a model choice, and you got some model config, which will probably just be default, and the instructions are nothing.
Okay, so basically that is all I need to abide by, and anything under the instructions.
Entirely up to you.
It's fine.
Entirely up to you.
Right. Okay. So.
And additionally, also everything in the description, entirely up to you. Everything in the knowledge base, entirely up to you.
All right. Okay. So, these definitions of instantiation, state change, that sort of thing, I don't really need those, but there's some actually quite useful. We've got AI model already defined.
Yep.
Drone is going to go. We've got tool, which we already know. We've got agent there. So let's try and find what's the most recent. Probably DC itself, actually. There it is. Okay, right. So, why has it got test file running up there? Don't know about that. Probably because I don't know why. Okay, ignore that bit.
All right. So this won't run. Right. This won't run.
So we've got, but this is
that won't run right now. But it's close.
By a nApp. Would it be replaced by a name of a nApp? Or
this is the agent file, right?
Yep,
Yep.
this does run, but this is what was running.
No, this doesn't run the commands. As you intend these to be software code, you're intending this section of the document to be the tool interface that the model can call. But I tell you,
Okay.
it will not be. The model will not receive these commands.
Let's.
A
I've
good
got one that.
Imogen's a good one. Nice simple one.
Imogen.
Imogen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. All right. So, definition of the model.
Yep.
Right, and commands.
Yep.
What else was different with? Why are you saying the other one wouldn't run? It looked very similar. What was different?
Have a look.
So
you've got markdown formatting inside the YAML section.
Yeah, I know why I did that because that was actually generated it from the definitions. Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's go to. Oh, that's too old. That won't have anything. No, that's too old. Okay, all right.
What are you looking for?
Right, so that is the header. I'm looking for how do I write my next bot. So that this sort of format, or this format, at the top of a file, yeah,
yep,
is everything before instructions.
Yep.
And everything underneath that is
Yep.
instructions.
All of it, the whole lot. And
Right.
you can write anything you like, and that's why it's beautiful. It's natural language.
And can I use what I thought was a brilliant idea, which was when you drop in links, not those. You know the links.
You can do anything you like in that section,
Right.
No problem.
So, right.
You can be a complete fuck up, or you can be a genius. No one cares. Like, I don't care. You can do anything you like in that section.
Okay.
That's natural language.
Right. So what we got is nApps is the header, and over to you. Black box, as far as I'm concerned. Instructions is me.
Yep.
And then so I don't need to throw away the stuff I was looking at.
No, it just belongs at a different level. It belongs at the natural language, the pure natural language level.
Right. Okay, so let's see definitions. So right. So what would remove? Dave is natural language. How's natural language agent? Tool is just a definition of it, but it's not it. Drone is gone. Isolate is gone. AI is model. It's just a statement of what it is.
Yep.
Artifact is just a even wider thing. Probably don't need it. Actions, prompt response, stateboard action. So that would be an app where an agent would say, "Hey, on this, create this widget thing." Presumably.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right. Instantiate and de-instantiate can be just assumed that you deal with that. Orchestrate is kind of between the two of us.
Yeah, that's just the act of a nApp calling its dependency naps.
Yep, but the orchestration of it is it's defined or dynamic?
Can be both.
Okay, so if it's dynamic, then there needs to be a bot that says, "Okay, I've got a plan."
Yeah, it is a bot, but it's black box. Like, it's inside the nApp. You can orchestrate any way you like.
Yeah, but it's inside a.
I would if you were yearning for a definition of orchestration, I would probably lean towards saying it was the feature of the platform to allow you to orchestrate between different bots. It's the capability to let you combine bots into workflows. That's the orchestration. Is not the fact that you can call nApps within nApps. It's the fact that the platform manages it in a permissioned way, where all the resources are So
I was, I
it'd be
was
like the scheduler in Linux. That's what orchestration would be akin to.
yeah, I was thinking more on my side of the fence, which was how would you give a yeah, and you don't need to answer this. How would you give it enough information so that it could make a decent plan? The
Well,
fact that it can make a
that's
plan,
that
it
yeah
just
yeah.
assumes. But
Yeah, the
just okay,
platform, the operating system allows you to have a plan. What the plan is is the natural language problem.
right. So I might change it
Which, to
differently
be
as
fair,
well.
like we're both sort of. I'm trying to fix it in code with like that forward slash. You're trying to fix it in natural language with switchboard. Like it's an ongoing problem,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
it's the solution is a mixture.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Now we've got all this, and I'm not going to go over the templates again because we've done that to death. But all of this stuff is inside of instruction.
Yeah, man, it's an entirely separate
Uh,
thing to the nApp layer.
so yeah, so I don't have need to change any of that. Uh, and the ERD is actually something else that talks about a specific agent. No, this is not a template. This is actually the what the things are doing. Dave can talk to Hal.
What can Dave do? Yeah, what can Dave do? What can Hal do? Yeah.
Exactly.
But the difference, I'd like to point out that the relationship between Dave and Hal is the same as the relationship between Hal and its dependent naps. So there's really no, it's really just two sides. It's the requester and the responder, the client and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
server.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's actually it's
That's.
actually as simple as that.
I mean, the way I'm looking at this, I'm like just double check I've got this right. From where has it gone? Far down. There it is. Basically, right. We've got Hal, and then we've got a whole bunch of nApp manifests,
Yeah.
of which the header is, your side. Don't know.
That's what the
Just
header. The header
happens.
gets used to be run on Artifact
Right. So this is
by
this is art.
the Dreamcatcher operating system, which provides permissions and other
Right.
resources.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is very very artifacty.
Yep.
Um, Now this is all one file. Yeah.
No, it's a folder.
Um, okay. Right. So there is something called weather nap.
That's right.
Inside of that, there
Yeah.
is
So
something
how I'd
like
imagine
nap
it would.
header.
Yeah,
So,
it would be a folder that was it was a Git folder, and it had some history and all that, but
mm-hmm.
it's advertised or released as this Git folder that's a snapshot that's been hashed, and inside it has at least these minimum things.
Okay. All right. So something like this for benefit is like I don't know. Nap weather. Oh
Yeah.
fuck's sake. There. And then inside of that is nap weather manifest. And inside of that, alongside of it is nap. No, it wouldn't be. It would be agent weather, something like that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. That was fine.
And that's the key, man. That thing, the package.
Yeah.
The package that bridges natural language and conventional classical code together.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, this is all I've been talking about, and I think what my use of language and terminology has led you to think I'm talking about that, which I'm not. All I'm saying is inside of here would be something along the lines of all the other agents have been writing.
Yeah.
It's like, let's find one. it's like you are this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You
That's
do
right.
that.
That's
You
where it all
generate a
goes. Yeah.
chart.
And so we had actually put the agents in one folder, but really each one should be in a package in a nApp package of its own, and there will be an explosion of them, just like there's an explosion of npm packages.
Well, yeah, there already
You know,
is.
and you're allowed. It's not a bad thing to have a lot of them because the AIs will help to deduplicate them, so we don't get these weird version. There's not like 100 packages that do essentially the same thing.
Yeah,
Like
no.
you can no
The
longer
thing
fork.
is,
You can no longer fork based on name alone. You can only fork based on the capabilities that your nApp advertises.
yeah, no, this totally works for me. So, what I'd do with this, for example, is right, can call naps. I would list their. Well, let's take a previous thing. Uh, like weather nap, fucking sandwich nap, and what was it, golf or something like that, wasn't it? Golf nap. I was saying you are to uh, book a business day that's not raining, has sandwiches, and we play golf. Right
Yeah.
now, inside of weather nap, what we got there is what we were talking about earlier on. So I can put I can bring these in together at any point
Yeah.
in any route, and the lowest level that we're testing, the lowest level that makes sense is well this.
Hey, I think what I'm going to do actually is that I'm going to separate out the tools interface and the nApp interface. That's just
Mm-hmm.
based on, I've been trying to write this ability to call a nApp today. And I think that tools interface should be separate, as in that's what you use to call code. The nApp
Mm-hmm.
interface, although it can look very similar to tools, should be treated differently because it needs a bunch of different standard features, like being able to get the agent to on the fly what the query what the weather nap can do and query what the sandwich nap can do in more detail than just the function call
Mm-hmm.
is one of the additional properties that a nap has when you call it versus just calling a tool. And so that's why, I mean,
Okay.
I could leave it the same as tools, but it actually is not. It's
It's a
I'm
different thing.
coding it differently for starters,
Yep.
so it might help your clarity here to actually make that separate too. It's like the nApp interface, and
So, okay. I was going to put in there is like I was going to say artifact and then stick it in artifact because it's like
what
not. Where would you like me to put this? You're saying it's not in here.
what I'm not saying it isn't. It is in there. So the see where you've got dependencies, other nabs, that should
Mm-hmm.
go in the agent file under like nApp interface.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Fine. So this is now nap.
No, no, it stays as tools interface, and then a
Where's the
separate at
nap
the same
interface?
level as tools interface, it goes the nApp interface,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and it's the nApp interface that you use to call naps, and the tools interface you use to call tools.
So in effect, a nap interface is a thing that I would interface. Oh, fuck it. I'll just copy it. So that is, if I were to delete this line, that is now correct.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
But
Right.
tools interface, I'd say get rid of can call nabs because that's not really what it's about. It's about calling tools. The
Okay.
the nApp interface is could strictly speaking be included in the tool interface, but it is fundamentally different. Um, and I have to code it differently too because it needs different interactions with the system because it's all natural language.
Right. So if I were, in terms of how this would look in an agent file, it would look
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah, man.
And
That's how it would look. Yep.
da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
Okay.
right. That's exactly
All right.
right. That's what it would
Great.
look like.
So effectively, as far as I'm concerned, when I call weather nap, weather nap, I'm calling the instructions that I want that weather nap to do, because the weather nap is going to do its thing with tools and
Yep.
follow its instructions.
Yep.
So it's the same as calling another agent.
Yes, it is calling another agent, but it is calling it intelligently. Calling it
Okay.
using the tools interface is calling it binarily, like blindly, right? Like when you call it as an
Yeah.
agent, you're calling it to talk to it like it was an intelligence. When you're calling it as a tool, you're asking for JSON output.
Right. Okay. So I'm just going to put that down so I remember. So this is
Tools is how you call classical functions, and naps is how you call inference functions.
inference, meaning natural language results
Yeah,
responses.
yeah, probabilistic computing,
Yeah, yeah.
artificial intelligence.
Responses.
Well, inputs, email requests and responses, because the tools
Right.
interface needs to be JSON as well.
Uh,
Yep, perfect.
I don't need to change that much actually. Effectively, what we're saying is don't dynamically add anything to the nApp interface list.
Correct.
Everything
Because
stays
the
the same.
the reason the reason is that it appears to be a principle of all software development, and even more so in natural language software development, that you should burn considerable more effort during your build process to test your product than you would ever expend while it was running in use.
Yeah,
Because
I'm cool with that.
in use,
Yeah.
you want to reduce the computational cost at all times, and you want to reduce the speed. In build, you want to increase the quality, and you will trade speed and cost to get there. And that's why you should not modify it after it comes out of the factory. After it's passed the test, the QA cycle, that's when you like touch it at your peril.
Yeah. Can I just check one thing? Right. So we've got nApp, and that
Yep.
runs.
Yep.
This nApp doesn't know about any other naps other than the messages it sends backwards and forwards. So it knows that there's another nApp called weather,
Yep.
sandwich, golf,
Yeah.
but weather doesn't know any of the definitions that sandwich knows about.
It
Golf doesn't know
might,
about
or it
sandwiches.
might, but they are
Well,
independent
that'll be just
units,
that'll be just accidental. I mean, they're not independent.
coincidental as opposed to like it
Well, yeah, well, yeah,
coincides. Yeah,
yeah. And so that kind of global thing, if I wanted to put in global stuff, say if there's something similar between weather and golf,
yeah,
I I can get a definition of wet grass
something like that. Yeah, yeah,
and then put that into both. So I can still
yeah,
do the insertion of
yeah,
the,
yeah,
and I can prioritize that.
yeah. But you
Right, I
gotta
can
you
prioritize the
gotta do
rules.
the insertion. You gotta do the insertion of the sysprompt at testing time. Now you can do dynamic retrievals and add stuff in um, as you go, but it's more like the you only really want to be doing retrieval at runtime. You don't want to be trying to modify behaviors at runtime. You only want to be able
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
You want
This
to.
is why when I
That's
was talking about this this idea a couple of days ago, I was saying that these are kind of semi-persistent,
yeah. The
and then
very
you
persistent.
test them, and
Yeah.
you can I think I've got you can like delete them and that sort of thing. But basically, Dave is interested in golf. Anne doesn't give a shit about golf. Dave has got um, uh, he's brought down from the App Store the golf sandwich weather app.
Yeah. Now, just to make a point here, the nApp Store, the ability to browse the nApp Store is just another nApp. So if you wanted this nApp to be able to search for other nApps that can fulfill things that it wants to do, you would need to add the nApp Store nApp here.
Yep, and I assume that the Nap Store app would write the description of what it can do and a bit
Yeah,
of knowledge base about naps,
yeah,
and that would be it.
yeah. And I
And
additionally
maybe an agent.
what I plan to add to all running agents, if you have a nApp interface defined, you also get some basic tools defined that let you retrieve more about that nApp, because you could have like 100 nApps in here, and their definitions files and ERDs could be megabytes in size, and so you wouldn't want to pull that in all at once. So there needs to be some basic tools for working with nApps that we need to provide that do things like pull in the ERD or whatever. We don't know what those are yet. We'll have to work towards them.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But we could almost experiment with that because we can get something that can extract whatever it is, as I showed you the other day,
Yeah.
extract it,
Yeah.
an ERD
But
out of
this
natural
appears
language.
to be the format that has we have arrived at after about a year's worth
Yeah,
of struggle. And
man, I've got to apologize because this is like this close from actually the rest of it. This is absolutely fine and doesn't break anything.
okay.
All it does is the inheritance of that last piece that I introduced a couple of days ago of let's get capabilities, abilities, skills, whatever it is. We're not doing that. It's like okay, everything else still stands.
We missed the component in the manifest, which is the tests. So there would be
Mm-hmm.
the test would be a folder that contained all the tests that were used to run, um, all the tests that were used to verify the features that this nApp offers.
So you'd have the test files, and then you
Yep.
probably have a TPS, the last TPS.
No, I think you wouldn't.
No, I
Would
thought you would have.
you? Would you have the TPS in there?
If
Oh, you
nothing's
might as well, I
changed,
suppose. Yeah, you might as well.
yeah.
Yeah, test and TPS reports. And then if an agent wants to really dig into a nApp, this is what I mean by some of the nApp specific tools that we need to make available. If the agent wants to really dig into a nApp, it would dig into the TPS report. It would retrieve the ERD and definitions that made it clear what a TPS was and what it meant. It would read the TPS file and figure out a little bit more about what it was trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And there's let's see if there's any kind of oddness with the kind of loop part. So um, let's call this top level NAP manifest business lunch, right?
Yep.
And description, blah blah blah. I've got
Yep.
test file
Yep.
attachment, yeah, and then agent files. In order to do a business under instructions, you've got to book a business day. In order to do that, you got to talk to the weather, sandwich, and golf. Right. So then there's test files that that run that. just against that agent file, but then it's nested in. So now when you run it to make sure that the business day is not raining and the sandwiches and you can play golf, you need to go into Weather app and make sure Weather apps and Weather nApp is working, Sandwich nApp is working, Golf nApp is working, and that could go down arbitrarily.
Yeah, arbitrarily.
At each level, there's one nApp manifest to one agent file, but the agent file can have many